For today's Purple to Black Belt class, we're going to be reviewing a few key things to help you be prepared for promotion. One, we're going to be reviewing some of Naguru to make sure that we're working on that, mastering how to move while demonstrating power under control. We're also going to be continuously working on our striking. We always work on our striking to continue to improve our strength, our coordination, all those great things. Finally, we'll be talking a little bit about sportsmanship and how we carry ourselves in competition. So, with all that being said, let's get started with some warm-ups, and we'll jump into class from there. All right, before we get started with most of the class, we're going to do our warm-ups, right? Warm-ups are important to keep our body healthy and strong, right? So this is going to be a 4-part warm-up. Every move that we're doing, we're going to do for about 30 seconds, right? So we're going to start off in a fighting stance. We're going to have one leg in front, one leg in back. It really doesn't matter which one it is, right? You're going to be doing a lead hook and then a backhand cross. Right? Now the big thing that we're looking for as you do this is that you're turning your feet, right? It doesn't have to extend your arm fully, right? But we want to turn our body, start to warm up our core and our legs. My feet are turning, you can hopefully see that, right? My shoulders are turning, my hips are turning, right? The one thing that's not turning really is my head. I try to keep that straight forward. Other things to think about is, basic stuff like keeping your hands up, right? But the most important part is the turning to help you get you loosened up, right? So now we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to switch to the other side. 30 seconds, lead hook, backhand cross, lead hook, backhand cross. Now as you're doing a warm-up, it's important to breathe. Get your body used to breathing in, breathing out, right? Raise your body temperature a little bit. That's literally what you're doing when you're doing a warm-up. Got to raise that body temperature a little bit. In and out, in and out. Almost done with this part of the warm-up. I got 2 more after this. Okay, next part of the warm-up, we're going to do some crawl-outs, right? I'm going to cut in some different views of this, but basically all you're going to do is you're going to squat down, you're going to crawl out to a push-up position, you do 1 push-up, you crawl yourself back, and you stand up with a tiny hop, right? We're going to do that for 30 seconds. Ready, set, and go. Squat down. Crawl out, get your body nice and straight and flat. Bend down for your push-up. Now, if you need to put your knees down when you do your push-up, that's okay, right? The important thing is you get that full range of motion, right? So if I put my knees down, still get the benefit, pick my knees back up so I can crawl, get back up. And if you need to, you can even skip the push-up. Makes it a little bit easier. You can crawl out, right? And then just crawl back and do that little hop. All right, so that's 30 seconds. Last warm-up move that we're going to do, we're going to do some snowboard hops, right? Snowboard hops are a lot like ski jumps, only I go forward and back as compared to ski jumps where you go side to side. So we're going for 30 seconds. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see. Ready, set, and go. I'm just trying to breathe a little bit. That's good. That's what a warm-up should do, right? You can shake out your arms if you want, right? Tiny hops. Right, make sure you have your feet underneath of you, and they're pretty close together. You can see that when I turn, right? My feet pretty close, right? A few more seconds, almost there. 3, 2, 1, and that's time. All right, we're all done with our warm-ups. Let's get ready for the regular part of the class. All right, so we're going to be working on one of our gap closing striking combinations where we're trying to go from a neutral range into a range where I can throw strikes. And kind of what's the difference between neutral and punching and kicking, right? In punching range, I can punch them, right? Boom, 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 and hit them with punches. But it's a little bit too close to kick, right? Kicking range, I can kick, but it's a little bit too far to punch. And then when we're more in like a neutral range, I can't really do either, right? Can't kick you, can't punch you, right? I'm too far out. And what we want to be able to do is close the gap, right? This is usually a move that we would be doing if we were smaller than the other person and they're pretty strong and we want to like hit and run, or we want to close the gap because they're so tall and they keep pushing us away with front kicks. Within this combination though, there are 2 moves that are kind of like, we don't really do that very much. So what we're going to do is focus in on just learning how to do those 2 moves. And the first thing is the actual gap close, where you're going to bring up your knee and you're just going to kind of hop towards them like that, okay? Now this gap close, you could think of it as like I'm throwing your knee, think of it like you're faking a kick. The important thing is get your knee up, keep your head back, right? So as I'm here, I don't break my posture as I hop in, right? So we're gonna do, I'll do 5 of these this way and then 5 of them towards you. So I guess you're gonna do 10, I'll do 5 and 5, which is, I think, 40. Ready? 1, knee up, hop, close the gap, and reset. Now if you have something you can use as a distance marker, great, right? But you don't need it. And 2, and reset, 3, and reset, 4, and reset, and 5. Good. You can do a few towards you, the same basic idea. 6, and reset, 7, and reset, 8, and reset, 9, reset, and 10. Good, okay. Switch your legs. Same basic idea. I'll do a few towards you with my other side, and then I'll do a few towards the back. Ready? 1, and reset. 2, and reset. 3, and reset. 4, and reset. Now one thing, hopefully you're noticing 5, so when you land a little bit open, okay? Do 5 more. Ready, 1. Also, you notice I'm in a fighting stance. I don't get into like a split here, right? And 2, so it's important that I land in a position where I'm ready to strike. 3, and reset. 4, and reset. 5, and reset. Okay. A couple other small details I want to talk to you about. 1, really hard to do this if your feet are far apart. And if you're here, feet wide, it ain't gonna work, right? Make sure your feet are close enough in. If you're having a hard time, move your feet closer together, right? If it's still pretty easy, you don't have to make them closer. Don't be like, well, it's super easy if I start with my feet together. You have a problem there too, right? This is kind of the same concept of like if I'm checking a kick, my feet are underneath me, it's kind of easy. If I'm here and I try and check a kick, I end up checking it with my face. All right, so we're gonna do a few more of these, right? What I want you to add in is just throw in a cross, right? So you're gonna come here, close the gap, throw across, okay? It's actually part of the combination. We're not really focusing on the combination today, but if you can throw your cross, that hop in probably went pretty well. Ready? Big side, doesn't matter to me as long as you do 5 on each side. Ready? 1, skip in, boom, and come back. 2, boom, and come back. 3, boom, and come back. 4, boom, come back. 5. Okay, switch it up, same basic idea. I'll do these 5 sideways. Right? 1, boom, come back. 2, boom, come back. 3, boom, come back. 4, boom, come back. 1 more, 5, boom, and come back. So simple, almost too easy. All right, so we're gonna take a break from this, and we're gonna talk about kind of a hook and uppercut combination. You could call it a uppercut. That's terrible, right? So what we're doing is we're throwing a hook to the body that comes up at this kind of an arc, right? So after I throw my cross, be like, boom, just like that. It's not flat. It's not an uppercut, right? Those tend to be parallel to the ground, perpendicular to the ground. This is kind of on the 45, right? And you'd make contact maybe like the ribs, aim for their shoulder, right? So set yourself up. I'll mirror for you, so you want to use your left leg in front, right? We're doing that left kind of hook uppercut combo. 1, just like that. 2, 3, 4, 5, and angling up a little bit. 6, make sure it's to the ribs. 7, not too high. 8, 9, 10. Okay, switch your legs. Same basic idea. You have your right leg in front. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Gotta wind up and then punch. 4, wind up your shoulders, then punch. 5. Let's go 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can see, you got that angle to it. Not flat, but you would be making contact at the rib height, working your way up. So now we're just going to add in a cross before. Now this actually makes the punch much easier to throw, right? Because when I throw my cross, it sets my body up for that hook / uppercut combination. Ready? 1, cross, hook, kind of uppercut combo. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Switch your legs. I want to talk for a second about how much you should follow through. As you throw something like a hook, you end up rotating till about your elbows in front of you, right? That's good habits where you're not overextending yourself and also forces you to keep from over punching, which can hurt you, right? You throw that giant, big swinging punch, it'll actually cause some potential problems with your shoulder. Not if you do it once, but you do that like 1,000,000 times, yeah, it's bad for you, right? So from here, cross, and stop to see my elbows kind of in line with my shoulder, right? Didn't go too far, not too little, just right, Goldilocks. Ready? 2, cross, and hook uppercut. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okie dokie. Now what we're going to do for our final little segment for this is we're going to put those moves together. We're going to hop in, throw across, then throw that hook. I'm not going to use this bag because frankly, this bag flies around too much for me if I'm trying to keep a high rhythm. As I'm doing this, I got to kind of pause, so I won't be using this, but if you have a heavy bag you want to use, feel free to play with that. Don't hit too hard, particularly when you do this kind of upward angle. A lot of times people will scrape their knuckles. They'll be like, ow, that hurts. I'm like, yeah, it does. All right, so I'm coming at you. You're going whichever way you want. Ready? 1, hop in, cross, and then that hookish, uppercutish. Ready? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, make sure you land in a good place. It's so important. 7, if you're out of control, you're going to have a hard time controlling yourself. That makes sense. 8, 9, remember, we want power under control, not one or the other. 10. Switch it up, same thing, the other side. If you want to challenge yourself on this, one way you can challenge yourself, see how far you can close that gap while still landing properly. So if you're like, man, it's too easy, Sensei Jeff, you're going too slow for me, you're teaching the lower belts. All right, cover more ground. All right, don't go 3 feet, go 8 feet. I can't do that. Then don't complain. Ready? And 1, close the gap. Boom, boom. Ready? And 2, close that gap. Boom, boom. 3, close the gap. Boom, boom. Or maybe you're struggling with it. Close the gap a little bit less. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, very nice. So plenty more details to work on for that, but if you add in those two moves that are kind of newish and unique to this particular striking combination, at least in terms of stuff we typically do for below black belt curriculum, you're on the right track. But for now, let's keep moving on to the next part of class. As we talk about sportsmanship this week, let's talk about sportsmanship in defeat. Now, first thing, are you allowed to be sad when you lose? Sure. Should you be sad when you lose? Probably. If you're trying hard at something and you don't get the results that you want, it's okay to be a little bit sad. But that doesn't mean you don't display sportsmanship when you get that moment of defeat. And whether it be you're trying to do well on the math test and you get a bad grade, or you lose the soccer game, or you lose the video game, whatever it is, when you lose, you can be a little bit sad, but you still carry yourself like someone who's a strong person, someone who's brave and doesn't think it's the end of the world, but instead knows that it's just another step in their process to improve. So what does that mean for you? When you lose a game, you don't throw a temper tantrum and start screaming and crying. You cheated, it's all, you made us lose, it's no fair, those kinds of phrases. Instead, your goal is to say, well, first of all, if someone beats you, say, hey man, good game, congratulations, right? Or maybe you lost, like you didn't get a good grade in the test, say, all right, I'm gonna study harder for next one. And you really do it. And if you do that, that's gonna show good sportsmanship and good control over yourself. It shows strength of character. So I hope the next time you run into a situation where you end up not getting what you want, where you lose, that you can show that concept to the people around you. And what you're gonna find is when you do, all of a sudden, they're gonna look at you differently. They're gonna respect you. They're gonna say, wow, I'm impressed by how grown up you are, how strong you are, how much moral strength you have, how much character you have, right? So while I hope you don't lose soon, if you do, I want you to think of this moment and say, hey, you know what? It's my chance. I'm gonna show that sportsmanship that Sensei Jeff was talking to us about. Because if you do it and you start to develop that good habit, man, you're gonna be great in a lot of things in life. All right, so everybody, great job with sportsmanship. Keep that in mind. Let's keep moving on to the next part of class. Today we're going to work on adding in a couple of steps to Naguru. We're going to be doing the step back hook crosses. For us, as we practice today, you are going to want to have some kind of a landmark next to you, because I find most kids when they practice at home, right and left gets mighty confusing. Frankly, it gets confusing for most adults as well, right? So I might say like, hey, step back with the foot closest to the chair. It'll make more sense to you. Again, because I'm also going to be mirroring when I demonstrate this. So like, I'll be stepping back with my left when I say right, and that seems to really mess people up. So with that being said, you should have your chair to your right side. That side of the screen for you, it's on my left, that's okay. I'm going to quickly demonstrate the first 7 or so steps of the form, depending on how you count it, right? Just take a look. Hopefully this is pretty familiar, right? So I break. Okie dokie, right? I'm going to show it to you one more time. This time from a side view. I will not be mirroring this time. So, yeah, when I go to my right, I'll be actually going to my right. Okie dokie. That's as far as we're going to be trying to go today. With that being said, we're going to be really focusing on the step back hook crosses. Those last couple of moves you might have just watched. Let's start with that. And some fly is trying to kill me in the middle of the video. Come on, fly, give me a break. Anyway, from here, what do we want to do? We start with a break. Remember, this is a moment to literally take a break, to relax, to center yourself, and be ready for the next move. From here, we're going to step back with your right foot, which is going to be the foot that's closest to the chair. As we step back, our hands are going to come up like a pretty close guard fighting stance, like you could touch your face, right? Really close, right? So hands up, step back, right? And now from here, I'm going to twist away from the chair, right? I'm coiling up, right? So those three things kind of happen at the same time. It's step back, hands up, coil up, right? So let's try it again. Foot that's closest to the chair steps back, hands come up, and coil up. And again, all at the same time. I just can't say them all at the same time, right? One more time, go. Hopefully you got this. Kind of turning your back towards that chair. Now you're going to be using your left hand to do a lead hook towards the chair. Now don't look at the chair, right? You're kind of pointing your belly towards it. You're turning your feet, but you keep your eyes on the target, which should probably be the screen. I'm looking at you, you're looking at me, right? And then I'm going to punch right at you with my other hand. That should be your right cross, okay? So we're going to do that. We're going to step back, then we're going to hook, then we're going to cross, right? Step back, hands up, and coil, and then hook, and then cross. Ready? Step back, hands up, and coil. I can't even say it fast, right? And then hook, and then cross, right? Let's do that one more time with me, and then one time without me. Ready? Step back, hands up, coil. I got it all in there once. That was great. Lead hook, boom, and then cross. Bang. Okay. Now, I want you to do that one time without me. We're going to do the three different parts. Ready? Step back, hands up, coil. Hold it for a second. Lead hook. Should be using your left hand. Right cross. Punching right at the screen. I'm looking at you. You're looking at me. Okay, pretty good. I hope. If you had some trouble with that, you might want to pause, rewind, whatever. But we're going to keep moving on, assuming that we've gotten it. So once we've gotten to here, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring our hands back up by your face. We're going to step back, but with our other foot, the one that's farther away from the chair. And also happens to be the one that's closest to the screen for you. Step straight back. So we kind of switched our legs, and now we coil. This time, we're kind of facing towards the chair. Again, you don't really look that way, but you point your belly that way, like we did before, right? So let's try that again. We're going to go through all those moves, I guess those four. We're going to do step back, coil, and hands up. You should have the foot that's closest to the chair is the one that steps back. Do your hook, bing, throw your cross, bang, and then we're doing the other side. Hands come up, step backwards, and coil up, ready to throw your next punch. And that's what we're going to do now. We're going to use the hand that's closest to the chair, and we're going to do our lead hook. And then use your other hand and cross. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. I want to show you this one time from the side. I will not be mirroring on this one, right? So this one will be like the normal way I would do it. So from here, step back, coil, hands up, hook, cross. I might do this faster, but you get the idea. Step back, coil, hook, cross. Okay, so all those steps, it's kind of like 6 sub-steps in those 2 steps. Let's go ahead and do that one time with me, one time without me, and then we get to talk about the details that make it go from being to Let's start. Make sure you have some room to back up, so I might move a little bit forward, right? But I want you to be able to see my legs too, so I won't get too close. All right, here we go. Ready, set, and hands up, step back and coil, hook and cross, hands up, step back and coil, hook and cross. Okay, guess whose turn it is now? Not my turn, your turn. Ready? Take your time, start from a break, make sure you have room behind you. Ready, step back, hands up and coil, do your hook and then your cross. All right, now you're going to step back again, hands up and coil, and then do your hook, and then your cross. Okay. Hopefully you got all of that. If you got all of that, fantastic. If you don't, like I said, pause, rewind. Now let's talk some of the details. What are the details? Well, You gotta throw your punches correctly, you gotta commit your legs properly. Let's talk about those things. When I throw my hook, let's talk about that. When I throw my hook, back up so you can see my feet better, my feet both turn to face towards the chair, or face the other way, okay? Also, when I throw my hook, you can see my elbow is basically in front of my face. Here, I don't want it to be here, where my fist is in front of my face, or way over here where I've turned backwards. You've turned too far, right? So if you watch, I coil, I throw my hook, I stop, that elbow is lined up, my hips are turned, my feet are turned, my shoulders are turned. The only thing that didn't turn was my head. That's one of the hallmarks of a good lead hook for us, is that we turn everything, right? Not just your shoulders, not just your hips, your shoulders and your hips and your feet, right? Everything from your toes to, well, not your nose. Okay, so that's one detail. The next detail, when I throw my cross, everything points forward. My belly button, my nose, my toes, now actually, yes, my nose, straight at you, okay? Not twisted, not turned over here, not over-rotated, pretty squared up. The other thing I'm looking for is your hand is up by your face, okay? This can't be floating in outer space. I can't tell how many times I see people do a cross and their hand is flying down here, and I find that irksome. Good, not so good. Also, when I throw my cross, I bend my knees. You don't stand up as tall as you can, right? You're not trying to compare yourself to your brother, but like, I'm taller than my brother today. Nope, get short. I like short people. They're awesome. Tall people freak me out, right? So here, boom, just like that. All right, so let's try that. Set yourself up. Step back, coil, hands up. Throw your hook, freeze, boom. Do you have your elbow in front of your face? I hope so. Did you turn your hips? Did you turn your feet? Turn and throw your cross. Bang. Did you turn your feet? Is your hand up by your face? I hope so. Now we're getting ready to do the other side. Bring them both up as you step back and coil. You're turning your belly a little bit towards the chair. You turn, throw your hook, freeze. Pause for a second. Did you turn your hips? I hope so. Did you turn your feet? Is your elbow in front of your face? Throw your cross. Right? Hand is guarding your face, bending your knees. Everything's pointing forward. Okay, so those little details are really, really important in a couple ways. One, when I watch your form, I'm like, hey, you can get a stripe because you're doing those details. Two, that contributes to showing power under control. Right? Power under control is a big, big, big part of becoming a black belt. And if you can't demonstrate power under control, it's a problem in the advanced classes, that's for sure. Okay, so with that being said, let's run through that one more time together, then one time without me. We'll consider today to be a success, right? So from here, we break, step back, coil, hands up, hook, cross, good, and then hands up, step back, coil, hook, cross. All right, now we're gonna do that one more time without me. I'm just gonna kind of talk you through it. Set yourself up, make sure you have room to back up. You're in a good ready stance. Ready, step back, hook, coil. Throw that hook, throw that cross. Right? And again, step back, hands up, coil. Throw that hook, throw that cross. Okay, now, another challenge that's kind of extra credit today is if you can pause the video and practice by yourself the whole form up until this point, right? I showed it to you earlier. If you aren't ready for that, fine. But if you're like, hey, Sensei Jeff, you know what? I feel pretty good about myself, want to move faster, go ahead, pause this, practice it as many times as you can, back 3 times, 2 times, whatever it is. Get some review time in. But for now, we're gonna keep moving on to the next part of class. All right, folks, for our final game today, we're gonna be doing one of our weekly challenge videos, right? This one needs a partner, so you might wanna grab someone in your family, right? But let's have some fun with it. Here we go.
What's up, guys? Sensei Mark here again, and I have Marissa back with us. For this challenge of the week, I'm gonna teach you guys how to play the game called Noodle Samurai.
Stick around to the end to see the epic Noodle Battle.
So for this game, all you need is yet another noodle. I have this orange one here today. What we're doing is we're going to be cutting it in half and making a handle for it. So I'll show you guys how to do that now. Now we have our weapons. Really quick, what I'm going to show you guys to do is how to use them. First thing you're going to do is you're going to get into a fighting stance, but this time you're going to put your right leg in front. And since my right hand is on the sword, right leg's in front, they're matching, just like this. And when I do each of my strikes, to make sure I'm going to bend my arm and fully extend, right? No lazy strikes like this. Fully extend out as you do each of your strikes. Bam, bam. So for our first game, we're going to be playing something called the Ashi Game. Now, Ashi strike is a type of strike that we teach our leadership students, and what it means is it means leg strike. So as you guessed it, we're only going to be hitting each other in the legs for this first game. Now, just like last time, guys, we're using foam noodles. They're not that bad, so if you get hit with them, it's really not a big deal, okay? Now, the way we're going to do this is we're both going to get in a fighting stance facing each other, kind of far away to like our sides of the arena, so to speak, right? So Marissa's over there, I'm back over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to bounce around, move around, and only try to strike at the legs. Be very careful, though, not to bring your arm too low, because I don't want you guys whacking your hands against each other's. Just the noodles. Okay? So let's see how this plays out. You ready? Set, go. Oh, almost. That was my pants. Whew. All right, so now I got her. Now what she's going to go back to her side. That gives me 1 point. We come back and we play another round. So we play again. Oh, she's a little more fast this time. Oh, almost. Oh, got me. All right, so I go back to my side. One more round, final round, it's tied. Oh, I got her. All right. And that's the first game. That's the Ashi game. The next game is one of my personal favorites. We call this Black Knight Sparring. Now, the way this one works is you're going to be striking at your opponent, but this time you can hit either their arms or their legs. And if you get hit in one of your arms, go ahead, hit me. Boom, you lose that arm. And now I can only strike with this one. If you get hit in one of the legs, you lose that leg and you have to hop around on one leg. If you get hit in the other one, well, you got to crawl on your knees. And if you lose all 4 of your limbs, you're out, you lose. So, let's see how we do. Me versus Marissa. So we're going to get back to our sides, right? And be very careful, you guys, since we're swinging a little bit higher. Careful not to whack your partner in the face. Even though they're foam noodles, it's still not fun to get hit in the face with a noodle. So, first thing we do, fighting stance, and we go. So now we can strike at each other's arms or legs. I'm going to do my best not to lose any early. Oh, now she got hit in that arm, so she's got to switch arms. I'm not taking it easy. Oh, she got my leg. All right, now I got to go up on one leg. Oh. Oh, I got one of her legs. Okay. This is getting harder. No. Ah, I lost an arm. Oh dear. Oh no. I'm down to one leg. No legs. No. Ah. And I lost my other arm. She won. All right. Now the moment you guys are waiting for. Me and Marissa are going to have our very own noodle battle. Let's do it. And there you have it. That's just some of our Noodle Samurai games that you can play at home. Send us in some cool clips of you guys battling it out with your family. But until then, see you next time.